Hi, Robin.
Hi Neha,
How are you?
doing good.
Okay, so let's start. Welcome, everyone. My name is Neha Desai. So today we will be doing a webinar for KSA setup. There are some questions that we usually get for how the setup is done, what is the basic criteria and everything. So we will discuss it in detail today. Let us like before starting, let me just give you an introduction on Black Swan. So Black Swan is a business setup company. We are based in Dubai. We have set up in Oman as well as in Saudi. We are a 10 years old company with a good experience. Okay. So we are a one stop solution for the business setup, from visas to incorporation to consulting to bank accounts as well as PRO services. So we do everything in one go. I will like you to introduce my colleague, Mr. Robin. He's a senior sales consultant for Saudi. So let's start with the questions. Robin, let us go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Neha. Thank you for the introduction. Let's start. So we would be taking a few frequently asked questions on Saudi. So as we all know that Saudi is moving away from oil-based economy to a tourist to a manufacturing as well as production-based economy, and we see a uptrend in companies moving from the GCC and other countries to Saudi Arabia. So these, as we have already formed more than 60 plus companies in Saudi Arabia and different types of licenses and different formations and structures, these are the few questions that we have been receiving, and we would like to address them. And I hope this session is useful and helpful for all of us. So let's move to the first question.
So, Robin, can you let us know, can an individual 100% ownership can set up a company in Saudi Arabia? Like an expat ownership can set up?
Yes, so individual shareholdings are allowed, but with specific eligibilities and criteria.
Okay.
Expat shareholding individual basis can be done only with a premium Iqama. So premium Iqama would be as equivalent to a golden visa in UAE, where you have this premium Iqama, you would have the same immunity just like any other GCC national, and you would be eligible to form the company without a MISA license. Now, MISA license is Ministry of Investment in Saudi Arabia. They are the gatekeepers for any expat shareholding, any expat's investment coming into the country. Now, MISA licenses require corporate shareholding. Now, individuals, if
Okay.
they're looking to set up on an individual capacity, only route is either a premium Iqama or you need to be a GCC national to set it up.
Okay. So, as you said, an individual owner company can only be opened if you have a premium Ikama, right? So,
That's right.
what is the cost for getting a premium Ikama?
So premium Iqama starts. There are two options. The first option is 100,000 Saudi riyal per year.
Okay.
This amount has to be paid, and you are eligible for a premium Iqama. This is the fees paid to the government. If you're looking for a 10-year Iqama, it would be 800,000 Saudi riyals.
Oh, great. So we got to know a little bit about Premium Ikama. That's great. So if I have a Premium Ikama, I can open a 100% ownership in Saudi
That's
Riyal.
that's right.
Okay, sure.
Usually,
Yeah.
it's corporate
Mhm.
shareholding for expat companies moving to Saudi Arabia. And the other
Okay.
criteria is if you're a trading company, you need three existing companies outside of Saudi Arabia, three different countries, with any one company more than 3 years old. If you are a service industry, you need to have at least one company outside of Saudi Arabia with at least 1 year of vintage.
Robin, as you mentioned that there are, three companies that you need to set up. This is one of the questions that usually come. If I have a company in India or in UAE and all the three companies are in India or in UAE, will it be counted as three companies or no?
No, no. So it will not be counted as three companies. It need to three companies in three different countries.
Okay, got it. Okay. Let's move ahead to another question now. Is it mandatory to hire locals in my company? Can it be like, after how many employees do I need a local like hiring, or what is the criteria?
Right. So once you have incorporated a company in Saudi Arabia, Saudiization do apply. And as the rule of thumb, Saudiization is 33% flat on your human capital. So every third
Okay.
employee in your company has to be a local Saudi national. Now, there are few sectors and few types of licenses which has a different quota of Saudiization. This depends on what type of licenses you apply for and what business activities you have. Say, for example, if it is manufacturing, your Saudiization is little less. If you have, say it becomes 25%. If you have a manufacturing as well as a fintech company, your Saudiization increases to 75%. Consultancy again has a higher rate. So depending upon the activities and the type of licenses you apply for, this would apply. But 33% is a rule of thumb for all the companies in Saudi Arabia. Now, having said this, hiring local talents in Saudi Arabia is definitely a good option because the median age in Saudi Arabian population is close to 32 years now. So the pool of talent that you can acquire from local Saudi markets are higher and great, and these locals are competing and are good resources which you can use in your companies.
Okay. But Robin, I've heard that, if I hire a female local, then there is some other criteria, or, there are some huge more benefits to it.
That's right, Neha. So if you hire a local female candidate from Saudi Arabia, that gives you a head count of two Saudis. Say, for example, if you hire one female candidate in Saudi Arabia, local Saudi national, Saudi female national, it would give you a head count of two. So you would be eligible, keeping 33% of the Saudiization criteria. So for five employees, you can just hire one female candidate. It would suffice the Saudiization quota for you.
Okay, if I hire male, it has to be after third employee. Every third employee has to
Yeah,
be a male, and if it is a female, then I can, go about 9 employees, and I can only have two female employees. Correct?
that's right. That's right.
Okay, perfect. Can we move
Now,
ahead to the next question?
I would like to add one more thing in this. So there are
Okay.
few roles that are mandated to only KSA nationals, like
Okay.
cashiers, marketing heads, drivers. These are few categories and few
Mm-hmm.
uh, designations which are mandated for only for local Saudi nationals.
Okay, so these have to be mandatory locals, and an expat cannot be hired on this roles.
Exactly. So receptionists, cashiers, head of marketing, drivers has to be local Saudi nationals.
Okay, got it. Okay, is there anything more you want to add, or we can move to another
Let's
question?
move to the next question.
Okay. So how many days do I actually need to come and stay in Saudi for my incorporation? Because I've heard that, the incorporation takes a while. It's not like very simple and it can be done within a day or 2 days. So how long do I have to be there for the completion of the project?
Right, Neha, this is a very subjective question because this would again depend on the type of incorporation that you're setting it up. So, if you're a GCC national, you're setting up a company with a GCC national, or the GCC national is an individual shareholder in Saudi Arabia. He will
Mm-hmm.
have to make one visit for his Saudi ID and other signing procedures at the initial stages of incorporation, and this would be a 1 or 2 day visit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, if it is 100% foreign-owned company, there need not be
Mm-hmm.
any visits by any of the authorized signatory of the parent company. It could be done through
Okay.
a POA that is given to us. We could initiate the process right from the MISA license till the general manager visas are approved. Now, in both the
Okay.
cases, once the general manager's visas are approved, general manager will have to visit Saudi Arabia. It would be a 7 day, 7 to 10 days of a trip where the general manager will have to go, complete his visa procedures, do his biometrics, do medicals, and also apply for the bank accounts, signing of the bank accounts, and receiving the kits from the bank account. So, general manager visit is a must. But the first visit with the GCC national has to be one.
Okay, so in approximately, because you have done so many Saudi companies, what is the full timeline from incorporation till the visa till the bank account? What is the full approximate timeline? Like, I know it can change, but approximately, if you can give me like 20 days or a month, and it can extend, but definitely, what is the approximate timeline?
Right. So the investor need not be there for the whole tenure. He just have to make a visit for maximum of 3 days at the first go if it is a GCC national, If it is an
Okay.
expat, the general manager will have to make a visit of at least 7 to 10 days.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much
Right?
for this answer.
Yeah.
Let's move to ahead to the next question. What are the different type of licenses that are available for an expat in Saudi?
Predominantly, there are 7 types of licenses which are available in Saudi Arabia. So there is commercial license, there is professional licenses, there are service licenses, there are entrepreneurial licenses which you can apply. Again, depending upon what activity, what markets are you planning to cater to. All of this would depend upon the type of licenses, right? Now, to cut you short, it can be broadly classified as service industry and a trading industry. Trading industry, as I said, again has 2 criteria. If it is a GCC national or an expat-owned company, depending upon that, the licenses differ. And also, if it is a service industry, again you have both the options, but the requirement again differs. So broadly speaking, there are only 2 categories, but there are 7 types of licenses which you can take. Now, the most interesting license in this is an entrepreneurial license, which is issued only on an invite basis, and all the startups, all the budding entrepreneurs who wants to make a mark in Saudi Arabia and start from the scratch can apply for entrepreneurial license in MISA directly, and it's only on an invite basis. So you submit your business plan, you do a research about the product, and submit all of this plan to the MISA, and it's an invite basis. They call you, and there are subsidiaries and other benefits linked with this specific licenses.
Okay, I got it. Robin, I believe that these are only the mainland licenses, Saudi mainland licenses that you're talking about. What about the free zones? Are they, do they have such categories, or what is the way to open a free zone company in Saudi?
Right. So there are 4 established special economic zones in Saudi Arabia. So the first one is King Abdullah Economic City. There is 𝐬𝐮𝐻 Special Economic Zone, Ras Al Khair Special Economic Zone, and Cloud Computing Special Economic Zone. Now, these special economic zones are dedicated for dedicated sectors, just like any other country. They are dedicated to, say, for example, if it is a fintech company, it's a computing software company, cloud computing special economic zones would be the most suitable for them. If it is logistic based, if it is light industry, then King Abdullah Economic City is the most optional for them. Uh, these special economic zones definitely come with a lot of benefits, like you have subsidies on the visa quotas, you have
Mhm.
subsidies on share capital requirement, and tax holiday period. Now, these are few benefits that are linked to the free economic zones, but these again, all these special economic zones are on invite basis, and only if you apply and you get an invitation is when you can apply for them.
Okay, so the more active zone is mainland in Saudi, and free zone is not that active, or
That's right.
only on invitation basis.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
okay. Let's move to the next question. How soon can an expat get a company incorporated in Saudi?
Now, this again is a very subjective and a debated question, that how long it takes to attest,
Okay.
to incorporate a company in Saudi Arabia. Now, MISA and your company registration takes close to 15 working days. Now, the steps involved from MISA till you get your company registered is, first you apply for MISA license. MISA license usually takes 5 days for the approvals to come in, and then you apply for trade names. Once the trade names are approved, it take another five. It takes another 5 days to apply for the CR. Once the CR comes, so all put together, it takes close to 15 working days for the whole process to work from end to end. Now, the
Okay.
most challenging or the most complicated part would be getting the general manager's visa, because general manager visa usually takes 2 months. Because if it is an expat general manager, you will require there are few steps that you'll have to ensure before applying for the general manager's visa, because you'll have to do a police clearance from your home country, you'll have to do a medical test from your home country, all of these documents are attested, and then it is you'll have to take a VFS appointment, and then your general manager can get the visa stamped, and then you'll have to travel. Even after traveling to Saudi Arabia, it's a 7 to 10 working days where his biometrics and other things are applied for, and that is when the general manager visa process is completed. So all of
Okay.
this put together, it takes close to 2 to 2.5 months. And after the general manager has received and everything is set, we apply for the bank account. Bank account usually takes 10 working days. Now, everything put together, we are looking at a timeline of 3 to 3.5 months. Now,
Okay.
having said this, what I would say is there are three main time-consuming process in incorporating a company in Saudi Arabia. Now, the first time-consuming process is getting the documents attested. Because of the criteria that you need to have three companies, the documents of all three companies from their home country has to be attested. Then it is sent to Saudi Arabia. So the attestation takes a good amount of time from the home
Okay.
countries, at least 15 to 20 working days. From there, the documents are sent to Saudi Arabia. There it is attested again, and then you have the general manager visa. The second time-consuming process is getting the trade names approved. Trade names are usually has to have an Arabic meaning. It needs to have meaningful Arabic meanings if you're translating it directly. So there are little complications, but it is still manageable. And this usually takes a lot of to and fro, but it usually takes 5 to 10 working days for the trade names to be approved. Now, third and the most important challenging task, as I said, is getting the general manager's visa, especially if it is a expat.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But
these are
what if my general manager is already has a visit visa of Saudi? Can he just travel over there and do his process itself over there itself?
no. So with the general manager cannot travel with visit visa and get it done there. He will have to have, as I said, he will have to have the police verification done from the home country.
Okay.
He will have to do the medical from the resident country. All of this are attested and then sent back to Saudi Arabia, and only then the stamping happens.
Okay, so
So
there is no in-country process, only outside country
no,
we have to
only
complete the
outside
process
country.
and then okay,
That's right.
perfect. Got it. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next question. What is the capital requirement for setting up a company? As you said, there are so many different types of licenses. What is the minimum criteria for getting the share capital?
Right. So I would just broadly classify it as a trading company and service company for the ease of understanding. Trading company has a share capital requirement of 30 million Saudi riyals, right? Now, 30 million Saudi riyals is the share capital for any trading company that looks to set up in Saudi Arabia. This 30 million is an on paper requirement, which the government wants these trading companies to either show the businesses worth of a similar amount, right?
Okay.
Now, these amounts are not held in the bank accounts, but at the later stage when you're renewing the licenses, government do check if you have the same amount of substance of whatever share capital you have shown in your papers. You have the same amount of substance in the market, and you are is the company just not a shell company, but are you operating and there are some credibility and some substance in the market, right?
Okay, so
So
I don't need to submit, I don't need to put this share capital in the bank account, but there should be at least my business should run around the same, numbers which I've mentioned on the share capital. Right.
right. But
Uh,
these are subjected to approvals from the government and the department. So 30 million Saudi riyal, you show it in the books, but you do not have businesses, say, of a decent quantum, then there might be issues in when you're renewing the licenses. But again, rule of thumb is that, say, around close to 2 million worth of businesses, if you do in a year, and you can show the department that you do a business worth 2 million Saudi riyals, this should be good enough, right? Now,
okay.
coming to
Got
service companies, the share capital can start from 50,000 Saudi riyals. You can
Mhm.
choose to increase it as per your wish.
Okay. So manufacturing companies and everything have some different criteria, or they come along with the service companies itself?
Service company, the manufacturing has a similar share capital requirement, just like a service company. It would start anywhere between 100,000 to 300,000 Saudi riyals.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Can we move to the next question? Okay. If I have a residency in, for example, any GCC, may it be, Dubai or Bahrain or Oman, is it difficult or are there any restrictions to not have dual residentialship or anything?
Residency is not an issue. So if you
Mhm.
have a UAE residency and you're looking to travel to Saudi Arabia, say for business purposes, even before pre-incorporation, if you wish to enter Saudi Arabia, you can do so with a legit e-visa, which you can apply for prior to your travel, and then you can receive and you can travel, right? But there are no restriction as such. If you have a residency in UAE, there is no restriction that you will not be allowed a Saudi Arabian residency. You can still have a dual residency, and you can travel to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, perfect. Let's move to the next question. Um, I have heard that in GCC, the bank account opening is the most difficult part. Okay, the companies get incorporated, but the bank accounts are very difficult. They have a lot of KYCs. They have a lot of questions, like questions that they need to answer. I just want to know that how much difficult is it in Saudi?
So, setting up a bank account in Saudi Arabia is not a tedious task. It is easier as compared to the other GCC countries. Now, if you have a MISA license, it becomes easy, even more easier. And if you have a GCC national, it's a cakewalk. You can just get inside any of the banks, submit your documents, and get your bank accounts open. But the bank account procedure, again, they have their own due diligences and compliances that needs to be followed. It takes good 10 working days for the bank accounts to be open.
Okay. What are the documents, additional documents? Because we have already submitted the financial audits, we have already submitted the company setup, so they know already that we are well established in some other country. So what are the additional documents they can ask for?
That's right. So the three additional documents that would be required is, first, they would ask you for a thorough business plan. A business plan which would show at least 3 years of financials, 3 years of projections, what you'd be doing in Saudi, in the kingdom. And these business plans has to be thorough. You'll have to name the suppliers, you'll have to name your clients and users and all of it, in a proper business plan that needs to be submitted. The second set of documents that you need is the share capital structure, or a share capital pattern. You'll have to show the ultimate beneficiary, where you have an organizational chart showing who is your parent company, the end uh, receiver of the investments. So all of that has to be shown as the organizational chart. And the third document that would be required is a CV of the general manager. So let it be in case of a GCC national or a MISA license, you'll have to have the CV of a general manager to be submitted along for the bank accounts.
Are there any international banks over there, or there are just local Saudi banks
There
which are
are there are
available?
a lot of local as well as international banks in Saudi. So there is JP Morgan, there is PNB Paribas, international banks to name a few. There are local banks like Arab National Bank, SAB. There are a lot of banks which has all the modern banking facilities, and these banks can be used for all your banking and operational purposes in business.
Okay, got it. Let's move to another question. What are the taxes which a company should know before setting up a company in Saudi Arabia?
Right. So, entrepreneurs need to be mindful of basically four taxes. The first is the corporate tax liability of 20%, which is applicable on your net adjusted profits. So, 20% of your 20% of your net adjusted profit is applicable on all MISA licenses. So even if there is a single percent of shareholding of an expat in a company, that becomes a MISA license, and that license would be liable for a 20% corporate tax. Now, the kingdom has a VAT liability of 15% on all your inward and outward billing. 15% VAT is applicable. Withholding taxes ranges anywhere between 5 to 15%. This again depends upon the nature of transaction and the country Saudi or the company is dealing with. So it usually ranges from 5 to 15% for activities like dividend sharing or royalties to be paid or interest to be paid to the parent company. It would range anywhere between 5 to 15%. And the most important tax in Saudi Arabia is zakat. Zakat is 2.5%, which is an Islamic tax which needs to be paid to the government.
What is exactly zakat? Because in other countries, I've heard about corporate tax, VAT, as well as withholding taxes. But zakat is something new which is not in other countries. So can you just give me insights of what is zakat exactly?
So zakat is a sovereign Islamic tax that needs to be paid to the government. Now, this tax is levied by the government, by the kingdom, for the upliftment of like residents, the citizens of the country, this tax is levied. Now, this tax is levied for the initial year, it is levied on your net adjusted profits for the first 2 years. Then the zakat calculation is done on your net worth. Now, net worth has a different calculation altogether. Few years down the line, when you build your balance sheet, your net worth is calculated on your balance sheet, and 2.5% of that has to be paid to the government. Now, zakat is payable and applicable to all companies, irrespective of what your structure is, what type of licenses you are. So you can be a GCC national, you can be a MISA license, you can be a trading company, you can be service industry. Irrespective of that, you will have to pay a 2.5% zakat.
Okay, that's great, Robin. It was a great, insight on how to incorporate what are the rules and regulations of it. Can we move ahead to the next? We have given so much information on how to set up a company, what are the rules and regulations. The most important question that everyone will have is, how can Black Swan as a company assist them in, incorporating a company, or what are the consultations that they will be giving? So I would like to say that, we are expert in, opening a company in Saudi Arabia. We have our own company over there. We have, more than 4 5 employees, Saudi employees who are our PROs, who are doing our day-to-day work over there. We help them for consultation to how to let them know, what will be the best area of business they would be having. Will a free zone be more effective for them, or a mainland, or in a mainland also, where they should set up in Dammam or Riyadh or any other place. uh, our prices are also competitively, better than all the other companies which are, helping to set up. We are a one stop solution for all the setup businesses. We don't just, help in setting up a license, but we do help with HR services, or with the rules and regulations of accounting, bookkeeping, as well as VAT and tax. Anything more you would like to add, Robin?
No, thank you, Neha. Thank you for the
Yeah.
session. Right now,
Okay.
I would like to add one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
that we at Black Swan, we believe in building an ecosystem. When I say ecosystem, this is not just consulting or advising or helping you just set up a company. We focus on building relationship. We focus on helping you throughout your journey. Right. Let
Correct.
it be setting up the company, let it be post that, all your PRO works, everything that you need, or probably all the assistance that you need to probably grow your businesses, is where we focus on. And that is where our expertise of building an ecosystem and having a strong network of this ecosystem, where we have incorporated more than 1,000 plus companies. We
Correct.
know, and we have this ecosystem where we can help you grow in these regions specifically, with our expert teams and ease of doing the whole process. We will help you set it up in a jiffy. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank
I hope this session was helpful to all of them who were looking for, who had questions which were unanswered. We hope we answered all of them. And
you.
to connect to us, you can reach out to us on our website. You can reach out to us on the given below numbers, and we'll be more than happy to assist you in your journey to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Yeah, thank you.